And yeah, this is going to be a rundown of the Euros, and unfortunately, it didn't go our way. Congratulations, Italy. You fully deserved it. I think on the balance, you probably have to say they probably did deserve to win. Um, I'll discuss the penalties in a little while, but yeah, that's just the way shit rolls, isn't it? Is England ever going to win an international tournament again? Well, we probably might, but I don't know. It's just such a high and such a low, but that's just the way things go in it. Um, so you know what? I'm going to talk about. I'm just going to note down some thoughts here. Not just of the game, right? So Italy had more shots. Um, they had more possession, and on that basis, you could probably say they deserve to win. But the thing is, we scored first, and we started well. Um, but we just didn't have the momentum really to kick on. Um, is a well taken goal by Shaw, but I just think it's game management that cost us. Um, and yes, I'm going to say by Southgate. Having said that, yeah, I do mean that Southgate in is our first major final since what 1966, 55 years. Um, Southgate really is to sack him, albeit I did think he made a bit of an error in the final. I think will be harsh and frankly silly. Um, so yeah, Southgate in. Um, Obviously, what happens in the next World Cup will be key, but at this specific point, I think it's madness to get rid of him. It's lunacy. Um, but yeah, I just think if we scored a second goal in the latter first slash early second half, I think it would have killed Italy. I really do. Um, and I think it was fine margins. Now, as for the penalties, um, bringing on Rashford makes sense. I know Fernandez takes penalties, hence Penandes, but Rashford has taken a lot. Well, he scored against PSG, I think twice, was it? Yeah, he scored against PSG. So Rashi is experienced. Um, but the thing is, if Southgate asked them to take pens, then why did he ask Saka and Sancho? Having said that, if you're looking around the team, Sterling has taken a few pens, but he's not City's main pen taker. I don't know who West Ham's main pen taker is. I'm not sure if it's Declan Rice. I'm not sure who takes pens for Leeds with Phillips. Luke Shaw, well, I suppose he plays for Man U, so it's going to be Penandes, and United have got a few penalty takers, or who are capable of taking penalties. Obviously, Penandes, I guess, is the main one. There's Rashi, there's Marshall, Pogba can. Um, I suppose Maguire took one and scored an excellent one. Walker possibly, but again, doesn't have much pen taking experience. So I cannot. Having said that, I'm going to revise that. You know, let's say you ask Luke Shaw to take the last one, or John Stones, then they could have missed two, and they'd have got shit too. Not racist shit necessarily, but I'm going to talk about the racist shit in a while. But I don't know. I just, to some extent, Southgate probably was in a bit of a no-win situation because how many pens has Grealish ever taken? On the bench in the squad, who else is there? Calvert Lewin. Is he Everton's main penalty taker? I think that's Sigurdsson, isn't it? I know, but I think it is that second half period that killed us. That if we just had a bit more oomph, a bit more attacking, maybe could have brought on Sancho or Rashford over Mason Mount, who I don't think did much, to be fair. Um, he wasn't shit, but he wasn't adding much. Harry Kane, yes, he was dropping deep, trying to make things happen, but didn't have many chances. Same with Sterling, he was trying to weave in and out of their defense, but not didn't have many real chances. But I know, I just think sometimes in life you have to take a bit of a risk, and well, not so much take a risk, but seize the opportunity is a better term to use. And I think Southgate didn't seize the opportunity. Because if he would have had a bit more attacking things in the second half, then I do think we could have won, or at least given Italy a lot more problems. So it's very sad. You know, we all got it, but such is life, isn't it? Yeah, I'm going to do the player ratings now. So Pickford, 7. I thought was stable. Actually, I'll give him an 8 because he saved 2 penalties. He saved Jorginho, supposed Ballon d'Or contender. Suppose is hyperbole. I think he should be in the running. Double European champion, don't forget. At club level and international level. So I think he has to be in the running. And he was one of Chelsea's best players last season. So, yeah. But, so I'm going to give him an 8. You know what? I'm gonna be generous. I'll give him a 9. I thought he had in the 120 minutes he was good too. Walker was good. I'll give an 8. He was cutting them out. He was Insigne and Immobile didn't really have good games. I think to a large part the defense nullified them. Same with Maguire. His pen was a fucking rocket. It damaged the camera, but overall I'll give him an 8-2. Was solid, as with Stones. And Shaw, I'll give an 8. You know, I'll give him a 9. Defensively was strong. And obviously got a very good goal. Phillips, I'll give a 6. He wasn't shit. Same with Rice. I'll give a 6. I think they were being outpassed a bit by their midfield, Jorginho and Verratti and them. But again, I think that's more due to the overall tactical shape than their own failings. So I'll give them 6. I think slightly above average. Sterling, I think England's best player in the tournament, in my opinion. But excuse me, I don't think give him a 5. I'll give him a 6. He was trying his best. Same with Kane. I'll give him a 6. Mason Mount, I'll give a 5. He wasn't rubbish, but he didn't impact the game that much. So how many players is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Who else is there? I'm missing somebody out. So hang on, 1, it's 4, 2. And I'm missing somebody out. Who else? Saka didn't start. Saka came on. Fucking hell, I can't even remember who started. No, I'll come back to that. So Saka as a subs, I'll give 5. I don't think he was effective. That's not because of the penalty. Same with Sancho. Same with Rashford. I believe Henderson came on. 5 was all right, nothing more. You know what? I'm gonna have to check the teams because I genuinely can't remember. Who came on? So just bear with me. I know it's a bit sloppy, but So it's like Kane, Sterling, Mount, Phillips, Rice, Shaw, Trippier. Yeah. It was okay, it was Trippier. Yeah, Trippier was decent too. I'll give him an eight. I think all the defenders played well actually, so I'll give him eight. But yeah, um, as for Southgate, I think he got the shape and the formation correct, but again, is that I think his game management that let us down. So I'll give him a five. Um, and yeah, as for man of the match overall, that's for both England and Italy. I'm gonna say probably Donnarumma because of his penalty saves. Excuse me. I don't think Chiellini, Bonucci, or any of their attacking players were excellent. Jorginho wasn't excellent, but I'm going to give it. Excuse me. I don't know why I keep coughing. I'm going to give it to Donnarumma. And he won Player of the Tournament, I think. Um, I'm not sure if I agree with that. I suppose they're probably thinking about the penalty shootout against what's his name, Spain too. But um, yeah. So that's just my player ratings for the final. Now, as for the racism thing, I just want to share something here. Now I'm going to feature Saka because obviously he's an Arsenal player. So um, okay then. So this is just a statement from the club regarding Saka, and obviously the abuse, not just him, but obviously what's his name, Rashford and Sancho got. Um, so essentially, the club is saying that they condemn racist abuse. And yeah, obviously we have to not just as the club internally, Arteta, the players, the coaching staff, but we as fans too got to stick by him too. I'm just going to read a few lines. So last night we saw Bukayo Saka reach the Euro 2020 final at the age of 19 years old. Bukayo has been with us since he was 7, and the whole club could have been prouder to see him represent England throughout the tournament. You could feel it right across the club. Last night we witnessed the leadership and character we've always known and loved in Bukayo. However, this feeling of pride quickly turned to sorrow at the racist comments our young player was subjected to on his social media platforms after the final whistle. Once again, we are said to have had we are sad to have to say we condemn excuse me again the racism towards a number of black players. This cannot continue, and the social media platforms and authorities must act to ensure this disgusting abuse to which our players are subjected on a daily basis stops now. We have processes in place internally at Arsenal to ensure our players are supported both emotionally and practically on this issue, but sadly there is only so much we can do. Our message to Bukayo is hold your head high. We are so very proud of you, and we cannot wait to welcome you back home to Arsenal soon. Okay then, so yeah, I suppose this is a good message, but I don't know. I think speaking more on this racism thing, I think that I think is wrong to assume that that represents the entirety of English fans or even the majority. Yes, there were some scenes of Wembley, but and this isn't to lessen racism in England or Britain, but It's a lot worse in other countries. And for people to use this as a stick to beat us over. And if you're a Scottish fan, for example, you're using this as a stick to beat England with. Scotland's biggest league game, which is held 4 times a year minimum, obviously more if they meet in the Scottish Cup or Scottish League Cup, is inherently based on sectarianism, Catholic versus Protestant. And people know to which two clubs I'm referring, Celtic and Rangers, obviously. We have nothing of that intensity. You know, yes, we have rivalries, obviously Arsenal, Tottenham, but that's just based on geographical proximity and the fact that Tottenham claim that we bribed our way into the old First Division at their expense, and all this nonsense. Hence why they call us Woolwich and all this bullshit. You know, Man United, Liverpool. That's based on basically Liverpool Manchester rivalry because they're the two biggest cities in the northwest of England. You know, Newcastle, Sunderland again, geographical proximity. Um, you know, that's really the basis of most, practically all English club rivalries I can think of. Nothing say like, oh well, Celtic is the the Catholic club, Rangers is the Protestant one, or some such. So, you know, look at that Slavia Prague player who was banned. You don't get that in England. So, whilst it is true that we still do have racist incidents in our football, I think we can pride ourselves that it's not to the degree of other countries. That doesn't mean that we don't have problems, but and people may argue, well, what's the point of saying we have lesser problems? But I do think, even though we're not perfect on the issue, of course not, I do think we still can set an example. For example, look at Italy. You know, Balotelli used to get a hell of shit. Used to have people in the stands, racist fans in the stands, saying to Balotelli, "You can say on a big megaphone, saying you can talk about anti-racism, but we'll still be here. We'll still be after you." Where do you see that in England? That would not be tolerated in the stands in England. So, the point I'm trying to make is perspective. That yes, we have incidents here. I don't think anyone would say England or Britain really. I'm speaking about the country now, or the nation state now of the UK generally is some racial utopia. It's not. But I do think racial issues are not as pronounced. So for people to think that this means we have some deeper issue in our society, or that we do not, to some degree, lead the world in terms of tolerance, not just in terms of racial tolerance, but in terms of gender, sex, sexual orientation, etc. I think we should be proud, and that we can at least take some, if you will, solace, if that's the correct that. You know, we still. I suppose the point I'm trying to make, to sound as coherent as possible, is that don't look at these incidents and think that we have some mass problem. It can be a lot worse. That's all I'm saying. It can be a lot worse. Um, and also, I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but I don't think it's true to say racism is getting worse, as some people in the media have said. I just think that maybe because we live in a time of really unprecedented tolerance, maybe people have got a bit blinded to the fact that racism still does exist. Um, and maybe incidents like Brexit have given. Okay, let's put it this way on. If you were a person, say, 30 years ago or 40 years ago, when racism was more commonplace or was more tolerated, you could go around saying things that are racist, right, without people calling you out. If you're racist today and you have to concede it because you know people will call you up, you know people give you a hard time. So just because something is hidden or under the surface does not mean it doesn't exist. And I think recent events have emboldened people to express their inner thoughts more. For example, look at things like Donald Trump in the United States. When anyone say race, I don't know. That's just my appraisal of the issue. That maybe because of some recent events, major events in the UK, like Brexit, this has given people um, more confidence, really, to state racism. But to say that, I think maybe we're a bit complacent in that we thought racism was dead, which obviously is not true. But yeah,